Carl here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short, and it's horror movie review time. A found footage horror with heavy mystery elements, the Mitchin Murders doesn't try to tread any new ground with its story, but manages to be fairly interesting thanks to its mockumentary approach. Hopefully you know it's no secret, and my favourite style of found footage horror is mockumentary style. So I was very excited to see this. Directed by Jamie Bedevich, the film stars Georgie McGowan, Kate Winter, Robert Metzin, Philippa Dawson, Alistair Findlay and Paul Costa. It's set in 1994 and the story surrounds the small town of Mitchin in Iowa, where two young journalists have set out to make a documentary surrounding a string of mysterious murders that occurred a few years ago. The aim of the documentary is to shine a light on the mystery and show how it has impacted the town. Unfortunately, there is little closure to be found here for the townspeople, as the killer was never actually caught, and now it seems as though the murderous ways have started up again. Is the timing just a coincidence, or is the killer all too aware of the documentary makers and how they're slowly uncovering the truth behind the mystery? I think that's a really solid setup, and I was intrigued. I love the idea of investigating like old murders and mysteries around that, particularly unsolved ones, and how that plays out in front of the camera. It is this aspect, the mystery around the events, such as why some survived their encounter with the killer and how it's affected so many people in so many different ways, that makes the Mitchin Murders a fairly compelling watch. I'm going to keep using that word fairly because I don't want to oversell this movie and say it's really compelling or it's really interesting. Just fairly. While finding out that the identity of the killer might never feel important, it really doesn't, the motivation behind it actually does. This is expressed through a series of clever interviews. The mockumentary portion of the film delivers and is when the film is at its best in my opinion. The story being slowly drip-fed to the watcher via a strong set of actors revealing their personal involvement and how it fits into the overall picture.
We're not really supposed to be here. I think it's essential for the documentary. Maybe this is where the last murder was. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. What was that? Okay, go, let's go.
Alas, whereas the first half of the film is strong, the second half lets it down with a half-hearted attempt to ramp up the horror and make it seem like something bigger is going on, when that's not really the case at all. It is at this stage, the ramping up to reveal the killer's identity and motivations, where the film grinds to a halt and plods along to a finale that is, it's disappointing. This is a film that would have actually benefited from more ambiguity at the end, but instead we kind of get everything pointed out in what is, I honestly think, laughable style. Oddly, this would be a much better film overall if it dropped the pretense of being a horror film, instead focusing on being a murder mystery with true crime inspiration and maybe just some small elements of thrills. It's not that we're missing out as much on the horror, as it's very light anyway, and even when some stabbing does occur, the filming style and low quality footage, remember 1994, means very little blood is actually seen.
Homicide was confirmed tonight in the small town of Mitchin. The victim is believed to be a 22-year-old waitress and student.
As far as found footage mockumentary films go, The Mitchin Murders isn't the worst thing you'll see, and for at least half its runtime, I think it'll keep you entertained. However, the drop-off and lack of tangible horror is extremely notable. Some may end up struggling to finish this one in the end, simply because of how the second half kind of grinds things to a halt. I still overall think it's worth checking out though, because it's not too long, it doesn't overstay its welcome, and the first half is interesting enough for the mockumentary detail and the digging into the murder mystery. I think that's compelling, and it's kind of why I stayed around to finish it off, I think. And I think a lot of people will see that too. Had the first half been terrible, for example, there's no way it would have been compelling enough to continue the second half. But here it earns a lot of goodwill, alright, and does a lot of that as it goes on, but that goodwill is certainly worth mentioning. It is The Mitchin Murders. You got any thoughts on this? You know what to do? Let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website, where reviews, news, and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at GBHBL. Just search for GBHBL and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.